Hello and everyone, welcome to the Chamber Orchestra's musical JewelBox Holiday Party Edition. We're all here snuggled up to our trees or disco balls with our holiday drinks, which I hope you're all enjoying at home. And let's just go around and introduce everyone to see who we've got with us today. Obviously, I'm Josh Hartman, as you see every week, probably getting sick of me at this point, Director of Marketing and Communications, and the one they keep putting in front of the camera. And to my left, in my view, I've got Doris. Tell us something about yourself, Doris.
Hi, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa to everyone. I'm Doris Hall-Gulati, I'm Principal Clarinetist with the Chamber Orchestra Philadelphia, and I'm quite happy to be here today and not alone, as so often we have been through this 9 months of a pandemic. Let me see. Josh said something about we should talk about what makes us happy at Christmas, or what was it? What's for the holidays? I can't even actually remember what you said, Josh.
Well, you know, there are no wrong answers.
There's no alcohol in here. I barely drink, so that's not my excuse. For me, in general, with the holidays, being a practicing Christian, this is a very not just important, but a very holy time for us, as we believe that it is the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And so ever since I was very small, I have always been very, very active in the Advent and the Christmas season, always in nativity plays and very active musically. I luckily was able to join an Episcopal church choir when I was 7 years old. And that was pretty much a big deal for a little country girl who, only had heard, I think, country music played by my dad's records, and so something I really wanted to do and I was excited about, and I was one of the first little girls able to enter because it was an all boys and man's course. So luckily I was hearing four-part harmony very early, and Christmas season as well as Easter were very important times for us. So I'm also a different generation from my older brothers, so I've always been Christmas was sort of like a very special deal. I have three much older brothers, and then there was this little girl. So I was doted on very much, and I would always receive many presents during Christmas from all my brothers and from their wives and their, and many family members. And being the only girl, also, I became daddy's little girl. So Christmas was always a really happy time for this little girl. And I have to say, during COVID, I'm usually extremely busy at this time of year, and I do miss being with my friends and family making music, but I am going to do some live streams this weekend, as scary as that sounds. So it's something, and it's at a very Christian church on the main line, Wayne Church of the Savior, which is very almost evangelical, and they take Christmas very seriously. So we're hoping it's a jazzy rendition of many of the classics, but we're hoping that we have a safe but happy time. And that's about it for me. I'm just hoping we can all get through this, and maybe next holiday season we will be able to share together.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. And at the very least, we can complain about our favorite Christmas carols here today, and that might give us enough gumption to keep going for the rest of the year. All right, well, moving around the anti-clockwise direction, Dirk, I think we all know who you are, but tell us how you're doing. How are you spending the holidays in Belgium?
Well, I'm Dirk. I'm the music director of the Chamber Orchestra of Philadelphia. For the moment, I'm in my studio, brand new studio, working, composing as always. But apart from that, it's not the happiest time of our life here in Belgium. As I speak, the government is having a meeting just to decide whether we'll go in a lockdown, yes or no. As you all know, the countries around Belgium, specifically Holland and Germany, they are in a lockdown. So it means what it means. Here in Belgium, we're still allowed to go on the street, to walk on the street, although the bars and the restaurants are closed already since a couple of weeks, and they will be closed till after New Year. So that means that this year we are celebrating New Year's Eve and Christmas at home, which is fine, but we are only allowed to celebrate with our own family, and the maximum number of people is 4. So that's not a lot. Imagine a family with 4 children and with husbands and wives and grandchildren. It's absolutely impossible. So we are going to celebrate with my wife Claire and our daughter Camille and her friend. And so it's just a little bubble of 4 of us. And on New Year's Eve, I will be with Claire. We will be 2 of us celebrating, which is okay, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. Christmas time, it's always a time for reflection, to think about what's going on in the world, what's going on in our personal life. So this year, many things had happened in the world, but I took this whole COVID period as a sabbatical year, as a sabbatical period, and I did things that I would normally never do. Clean up my house, clean up my studio, repaint and rebuild my studio. You see, I have new furniture all over. See, you have my new.
Oh my!
Scores are here, so everything is painted, so brand new. Here's the stair to my private office upstairs, and here I have a new place for my books, a new place for my artworks, which is my pre-Columbian artworks, and then here is another statue, another light, which I like very much. It's a bit strange. It's a skull of a human being, of a Homo sapiens, and here is my book collection, and here is the piano, and there again is the new furniture. So this is what I did thanks to Corona. I
now, where do you keep the sleigh bells to add them to all your compositions for everything you compose in December? I think that's a rule.
Yeah, as you know, I'm collecting musical instruments, and I think Francis, at some point you were at my house, right? Well, how long was it?
It was
4, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago when we saw Dirk's collection. It was amazing. Yeah. I'll never forget that voyage.
Collection is we have around 1,000 instruments right now.
We did not see them all,
which is a lot, and a lot of ethnic instruments. And now they are all in one small room. They're packed because of the cleaning I did and the refurnishing I did in the studio. But apart from that, I have been reading a lot. I have been listening to other composers' music, and as I said before, I compose a lot. So for me, it was like a very, very busy sabbatical year.
Well, hopefully you find those jingle bells before too long, because I'm going to need to hear sleigh bells in every piece. I don't care if it's a cello elegy. I want sleigh bells. But okay, Francis, how are you doing? Tell everyone a little bit about what you're doing in spending the holidays.
I am Frances Tate. I'm the second flutist with the Chamber Orchestra, and I also moonlight as a choral singer. So I'm sure every musician around the world is facing the same thing. December is my busiest month, and my last Christmas job winds up at about 1 a.m. on Christmas, Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
We sing our traditional Christmas Eve midnight service, and then I'm done. And so this is the first year, almost since I've been a professional musician. My last Christmas job this year was a recording session on November 29th. And so that's been a little bit hard to think about. My husband is a little irritated listening to me complain, because he says, all I ever hear from you is how busy you are in December. Oh, you're so busy. You don't have a minute to sit down. You don't have that Christmas mood because you're working constantly. And now you finally have time to bake cookies and listen to Christmas carols and decorate the tree. And now you're complaining that you don't have work.
I know the feeling exactly. Like, oh, I could do so many things at home, but like, no, I kind of want to just go scream Christmas Carol descants to an overwhelming organ with austere architecture made of stone. I mean, is that so much to ask?
Yes. So that's definitely been been weird, but we have had plenty. You can see we've had plenty of time to decorate, and my husband and I are just spending Christmas by ourselves, which is hard. My parents are in Washington, D.C. My sister is in Maine, and we typically get together, but this year, no. So I had to get my packages out, which is something I've never had to do, send presents to everybody. But that's all done. Cookies are all baked because those went in the packages as well. So
now it's just sitting around.
Now it's just sitting around, but we had a lovely snowfall here. And, I've gotten to do a lot of things in this pandemic time that I frankly thought I would need to wait until I retired to do. So my husband is a professor at Swarthmore College, and I always wanted to audit some classes there. And I thought I was going to have to wait until I retired, but I took a German conversation class last semester, and I'm going to be taking a class in Haitian literature. Yeah, I went with a woodwind quintet to Haiti a couple years ago, and I really loved it. And so we're doing that, and my husband and I also bought cross-country skis.
Wow.
Which was another thing I thought that would be a good retirement activity, but it turns out it's also a good pandemic activity because you can do it all by yourself outside.
No need to come within 6 feet of anybody.
Yeah, so we just took our new skis out to a soccer field near our house yesterday and skied around in circles for about an hour. And let's put it this way, we're not quite ready for the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
How about something for the holidays here? I am very keen to hear the different perspectives from the different instrument families about your favorite holiday pieces. Now, there's some big ones. There's some ones that happen every year that sometimes I think we're sick of, but every time I think I can't do another Messiah, oh boy, I hear some of them choruses and I am smack dab in the holiday spirit. Now, I don't get to do a lot of ballets. I don't get to do like the Corelli. So where from an instrumentalist point of view, what's your Messiah, your must-have holiday classical music?
Doris, you want to start with this?
Sure. Okay, so the question still remains, Josh. What is the must-have that I must have as a player, or that I must hear?
Oh, I think both answers are interesting answers.
Well, first off, the Messiah is incredible, and I'm extremely jealous that he didn't even include Chalumeau. There's nothing for me to do other than transcriptions and listen. It's incredible, and
that's really rude of him, I think.
Yeah, that was. But I was just listening. I don't know. I was just listening to some of it. It came through, and I was like, the Messiah. But I'm a bass clarinetist. With the Nutcracker, get real. I mean, you can't get away. I mean, one of a household theme is ba-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, everybody knows the bass clarinet. Plus ba-da-da-da-da-da, the Skater's Waltz. I mean, I can't. Yeah, and actually, for years I've been doing Salute to Vienna with the little tour on the Northeast. So for me, for New Year's Eve and for New Year's Day, I mean, I love the waltzes. I love all that. I don't know. It's great. There's so many, but I can't get away from the Nutcracker. Sorry.
I think it's fair enough. Francis, how is it for a flute?
Oh, but wait, I did want to add one thing. I have to say, for me, the holidays, though, begin with Nat King Cole. Chestnuts. Yeah, it has to be. I'm sorry. I love pop and I love jazz. I love everything.
Well, thankfully, our live stream is going to end with a little bit of a
I have to
Christmas
hear a
song.
Collection of. I have to have it. So okay, sorry. Go on, Francis.
I actually love the Nutcracker. I'm not a regular member of the PA Ballet, though. So, I mean, there are people in that orchestra I know who have played it literally thousands of times. I think I've probably played the Nutcracker score maybe 100 times in my career, and I love it especially as a piccolo player. It's so interesting and fun, and I do really enjoy Tchaikovsky in a way that I know some other people do not. And I feel very lucky. Doris touched on this a little. I actually feel lucky that there are not flute parts in the Messiah, because as it is, I hear it once a year and I love it. And I feel like if I was a violin player and I had done it thousands of times, I would hate to think about being sick of the Messiah, but I know it happens. And I felt it was really fun. A couple of years ago, I was hired by a church to sing the Messiah choruses, and it was the first time. It's like a 45-year-old singing the Messiah for the first time. I was like, I'm the luckiest person on earth. I've never done this before. I'm not sick of it yet. But it was so hard. I was amazed at how difficult those choruses were. And my mom grew up in Iowa, and she told me that the music in the public schools at that point was really strong. Every single public school child in 8th grade learned the Messiah choruses. They spent the whole fall semester learning them, and then they got together in the local Masonic temple and all sang them together. And I said, I can't, how did you do that? They're so hard. She had no memory. She was just like, it was fine. They were fun.
It's shocking to think about learning them for the first time, because you only ever have to do it once. And then like every year it comes around, you're like, oh yeah, and he shall purify, and you just kind of go on autopilot. But
I know. Doing it for the first time as a middle-aged person was tricky, but it was fun. And I felt lucky to have the chance to do that when I could actually appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Now, Dirk, do you get to do a lot of conducting of holiday things, like get some good Bach in there?
Yes. Since a couple of years, as I said before, I'm doing movies with live orchestra mainly in Scandinavia, Belgium, but the last couple of years in Liverpool with the Liverpool Philharmonic. So every year we have a very popular Christmas-ish film that is accompanied by live music. So this year we were supposed to do Singing in the Rain, which is not a Christmas movie, but it's not going to happen. Then for many, many years, I think for 25, 30 years, I've been doing New Year concerts with waltzes. And I love waltzes. I just love it. I love it. The Strauss waltzes, the Lanner waltzes, Lanner, a bit an unknown composer, but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful waltzes. Then, of course, all the Tchaikovskys from the ballets, but also some more modern waltzes, second waltz, Shostakovich, and in the very early days of my career, I did a recording with famous waltzes, world famous waltzes. There was also the Paris waltz from Candide, for example, Leonard Bernstein, but a lot of waltzes, and I really love it. And I also have to tell you a secret. During this COVID period, I composed a lot. I wrote a new clarinet concerto, which I shared with Doris, so you could see the clarinet part and hear the studio recording. But I also wrote 21 waltzes under the title Guilty Pleasures. Why guilty pleasures? Because normally, as a composer, maybe I have written 2 or 3 waltzes in my musicals, but I would never concentrate or focus on waltzes. So with the New Year period in mind, I said, why not write a couple of waltzes? And I ended up having composed 24 waltzes, but 3 of them I'm not using. It's 3 series of 7 waltzes. The first series, it's very French, French connected with French music, French-ish pieces. Easy playing, so like just music school. After 4 or 5 years of music school, you can play it. Then the second series, it's more American based, more American related, American spirit. This is professional. You need to be a professional musician. It's written for piano solo. And then the third series is universal. It's ethnic. It's African. It's Asian. It's Arab. It's jazz. It's experimental, and that's very high class. So we just recorded it. We just did a studio recording, and the CD is going to be released on Valentine. But the idea is, the initial idea was to write it for piano solo, but it's all concert waltzes for orchestra actually. So after the release of the CD, I will orchestrate them for orchestra. Yeah, I thought Guilty Pleasures, the title says everything. Yeah.
I know. Well, we probably should wrap up soon, but I want to get one last good holiday topic in there. So we did our favorite big classical pieces, but a slightly smaller one, mostly because I get into heated arguments with it all the time, is do you have a favorite Christmas carol? And not just a favorite carol itself, but does anyone else, am I the only one here who feels very strongly about types of carols for different parts of the holidays? For example, the older and darker and more Latin there is, if they talk a little bit about the death of children, it's usually a pretty good Christmas carol. I mean, sure, we could do Ding Dong Merrily on High, which I am obsessed with. But what about Coventry Carol and Herod the King and His Raging? It's a banger, and that's how you really know it's Christmas. When things get a little bit scary and a little bit terrifying, that's the Christmas I'm here for. Is anyone else on board with me here? Especially, I'm looking at you, Francis, for church musicians who know what big, scary organ Christmas is like.
Well, Doris knows this, that my father is actually all but dissertation in theology.
Oh.
And he is an unreformed Calvinist.
Oh, wow.
So yes, I have many thoughts about it. I'm always amazed as a church musician, and we do a lot of sort of the Anglican music at First Pres, how many of the carols are so pagan with just the very little
a sprinkling of Jesus, but otherwise, no.
Sprinkling of Jesus, and there's so much. It's really cool to see that pre-Christian history shining through. I mean, how often do you get to do texts that are so old and really show you how religion developed in Europe? So that's something that I very much enjoy. Coming from the background I have with my dad, being able to look at the texts and how cool they are. And I guess, yeah, that's my comment on that.
It's incredible. Doris?
Yeah, I have to agree. It is interesting to think about more like people who celebrate the solstice, or what this was going on before, and even the peg. I would say I love to play them. I love to hear them, but they don't move me. For me, "Hark the Herald Angels Sing" is still one of my favorites. Silently, and like I said, I have if I hit Pandora and say, or I say, "Alexa, play Christmas music," I want things from all over. Yeah, but the one, yeah, I would say "Heart." I mean, I don't know. There's so many.
It is hard to choose.
But yeah,
like "Lo How a Rose," but man, that's hard to sing.
yeah.
Oh, and then you get the German ones, and there's something about the German carols that have that great like Lutheran structure to them, and you're just like, ha ha.
But they're hard. I mean, some of them have like 7 verses.
They do take stamina.
They take stamina. Yeah.
Dirk, are there any good Belgian carols? Do you share some of the German ones, some of the French ones?
We share the German ones and the French ones. So I don't think we have maybe, except for 3 or 4 for Christmas songs. I don't believe that we developed a Christmas tradition repertoire. No. So we are we are focused on UK, German, and French, and some Spanish, some Spanish. Yeah, there are a couple of nice Spanish songs. Yeah, Christmas songs. El Noy del Mar, for example. It's a very, very nice one. El Noy del Mar, and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Not very, very known, but yeah. But I have
Things we can.
no favorite song. I mean, every Christmas we get together with the family, and then I'm the music master, and every year I put the same CDs. I mean, it's a collection of Christmas songs. Every year I just put it on once a year, and but I like those. I like those arrangements done in close harmony, like for example, a bestseller, "I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas," but in very particular arrangements with close harmony, with gospel choirs, and that you can really, apart from the fact that of course you recognize the melody, it's like this melody has been there thousands of years, but yeah, sometimes some of those arrangements they can bring you with. After one bar, you feel happy. You know what I mean? You feel extremely good. Yeah, yeah.
Well, excellent. Well, I thank you guys so much for being with us today. And of course, we've already heard in our live stream Michell Johnson open us with a little bit of Christmas, and we're going to close. Doris, since you already mentioned how much you loved the Christmas song, we're going to let Michell sing us through to the new year with the Christmas song. And even though she's a big old dramatic soprano, she counts as a dramatic soprano. That might be unfair. I'm just speaking off the cuff here, but she's going to get a little jazzy with us in the final moments of our stream. So thanks to everyone at home for having a little bit of time with us. Enjoy. I'm all out of my holiday drink now, but hopefully your next week is great and wonderful. Nobody worked too hard.
No.
Maybe the snow will all have melted, and so we won't have to do much shoveling, and we'll all be happy. But thanks so much, and look forward to more information from the Chamber Orchestra. And we will see you all in 2021.